Okay, I'm gonna record this. So I just got released from the hospital and the police department because I was trying to essentially help Ethan Andrew Burchett out of this type of psychosis because I went to the mental hospital and I was able to get out of this type of psychosis. It's a very, 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 very rare type of psychosis, which is why I didn't realize I had it. Um, but once I enjoy. Once I saw the signs, just talking to my mom over the course of one day, I saw her hair turn from black to gray in one day, like a majority of her hair. That's how deep in this type of psychosis I was. That I believe she was still like 2016 version her or whatever the hell, because I hadn't moved on in my mind. Because this starts from a very young age where you're never given the time, or you're always talked down to, you're never explained, so you have to deduce reality of basically assuming you're always wrong and everyone's out to get you. And basically it creates like this anti-reality. So Ethan Andrew Burchett, um, I was told by a friend that when I tried to do a wellness check on him about 2 weeks ago by knocking on the door, he opened it. He thought he heard a gunshot from his point of view. He opened it and saw me pointing a gun right at him. I do not own a firearm. He is so deep in this that I just got out of. So I'm trying to help him. And then basically I did another wellness check because he stopped reading my messages completely. And I guess his phone went dead. So I got worried. I went over to his place. Oliver, please. I'm trying to. I went over to his place and was trying to help him out of this essentially because he's just been in his own mind, and he's literally just essentially he's insane, and he doesn't know it because his point of view, he doesn't think he's insane, and understandably so. Neither did I with this type of psychosis. Um, and no one cares to learn about this. I was explaining this to the cop who arrested me, and they thought I was insane because they're like, "No, you're the one not describing reality here." I was like, "No, I mean I understand the scientific method and theoretical physics." So, but once again, they don't understand how you can get that conclusion without a piece of paper saying so. Um, and so essentially, they arrested me for psychosis and trying to help Ethan Andrew Burchett, my friend. Um, and I went to the hospital again and the jail. I spent my time there, and then I got released on sanity beyond reasonable doubt once again. Um, I mean, I'm just going to keep getting arrested and keep getting released on sanity with beyond reasonable doubt again and again and again and again. Basically, essentially, that just shows the incomprehensibility of the education system to reconcile the what I was calling the dumbass problem in America, um, where you are made to believe you need this piece of paper. Um, anyways, so I'm still trying to deduce a way to help Ethan Andrew Burchett out of this, and I'm trying to deduce a way to help the Flower Mountain Police Department out of this, because apparently they have a little bit of this, I assume, because they bought his story, and then I asked them if they knew quantum mechanics, and they could not substantiate any of their claims. So I'm going to help my own hometown police department become more competent because I believe they're slightly suffering from this because they still believe people can die. And that's not reality. They're not explaining reality correctly. So I worry for my police department and I worry for Ethan Andrew Burchett. And so I'm going to go down to my local community college, do all the stuff there again, get the piece of paper, perhaps even offer classes there. So, people can become aware of this because it's something I climbed out of. And apparently everyone has to a certain extent. And it's tearing our society apart. Look how few people know this. It's really sad. But yeah.
Hello, this station will be about prodromal psychosis. This station is relatively simple because most of psychotic features you will ask the patient about, he will deny presence of any of them because he is just in the phase of prodromal psychosis. I mean, he is feeling there is something important and unusual is happening, but he doesn't have much details about it or explanation why this is going on. There is no comprehensive story of psychosis present with the patient. And for that reason, there is a plenty of time because there is not too much positive findings. You need to put in your mind the importance of assessing someone like this because we all know that the duration of untreated psychosis, if it is too long, this will impact the prognosis of the condition of the patient. So assessing someone who is in prodromal psychosis is very important as soon as possible, just to shorten the period of untreated psychosis. And also, starting the episodes of schizophrenia with negative symptoms has worse prognosis. So it's important to assess both positive symptoms of psychosis and negative symptoms. And there's something very important in that station, which is the subjective experience of the patient. This patient didn't come to sit with you because he wants that, but his mother made a pressure on him to come to see you. So he is not interested to see you, and he doesn't expect any help from your side, and he doesn't need it. So you need to do something at the beginning of the station. He doesn't expect any help from your side, and he doesn't need it. So you need to do something at the beginning of the station to encourage him to be open and to talk to you. And the only way to do that is to show interest, curiosity, and to be reactive to what he is telling you. And there is a crucial point at the middle of the stage. After a few minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and because most of questions you will ask the patient, their answers will be no. And all of us, as a human beings, if we are sitting in front of a physician who asking us many questions, and all of them are not related to our condition, we will start to be bothered by continuing directing such questions that are not related to our condition. So at the middle of that station, you will notice that the patient can look to the floor, to the right, and to the left like this while you are talking to him. And he is doing that as a natural response that every one of us can do in similar situation. And the right way at that point, once you notice that he is feeling bored and he is not interested to talk to you, is to stop directing any more questions and to tell him in an empathetic manner, Mr. Mark, it seems to me that my questions are not interesting to you. Is that right? At that point he will tell you, yes doctor, because you are insisting to ask me about things that I don't have. If you can continue, I'm sorry that you are feeling like this, but they are essential questions to my assessment and I have to ask. And I have good news to you that few questions and we will finish. If you don't mind, can you answer them to me? At that point, you will find that he will be forthcoming because you succeeded to pick up his boredom and to handle this in appropriate manner. And according to my experience in CASC exam, that station came to me, and by handling that station like this, it was easy for me to pass it at the end. Usually this patient doesn't have any ideas to harm himself or to harm his workmates or his boss, so it will be a good chance to reflect on that by telling him it's so good to know that. And at the end of that station, you need to do perfect closure. I mean to tell him, thank you for sharing all this important information with me. And at the moment, I can see that you have some concerns about your workmates and your boss. And although you don't have clear explanation why they are doing that, but you are still concerned about them, we will inform you how we are going to help you. And thank you.
Okay, so that is, this condition is, it literally, it starts from a young age, so it builds your entire life. And you don't know it's happening. It's because people ignore you. And because they don't talk to you, like they assume you're okay, but basically you're just constantly being gaslit your whole life because you just you're just that way. So it's an entire lifetime of gaslighting, and basically you end up either thinking you're a psychopath or a sociopath, and the world appears very, like, it looks real. Like, you're just like, oh yeah, this is the world. But when you slowly climb out of this, the world becomes more vibrant to you. You start seeing more colors that you didn't see before. Things become translucent. Things, you start actually seeing more colors. It starts looking like 8K, 16K, like 32K type crap. You become like, it's so realistic. It's a movie in front of your own eyes, even if you had bad eyesight before. That's how powerful this is. This is why the news media, like, whenever they, this is how powerful, like, this can get someone. Which is what you're seeing right now in the world with the FBI thing. Let me actually show you. Okay, FBI raid of Mar-a-Lago. Now, when did this occur? Well, they're talking about it.
A rare look inside the Winter White House. Very nice. NBC News was given exclusive access to the president's Mar-a-Lago private club, not usually friendly to the press.
Yeah.
The theme,
first of
country
all,
comes to Mar-a-Lago.
These are Trump's people. Hundreds of them have come to Mar-a-Lago tonight to celebrate him and support him and have a big party. And they paid big bucks for it. Some $500, some of the choice tables up to $20,000.
The proceeds go not to charity, but to cover the cost of the party.
It's a party for the president. The president would never do a party that wasn't the best.
The grand ballroom outfitted with 16 crystal chandeliers and real gold on the walls. The once-a-year extravaganza orchestrated by a group of women who call themselves the Trumpettes.
You can be convinced this is a room full of all of his friends.
It's a very special place to me.
The president appearing in a White House-produced video.
I'm heading over right now to Hanoi, Vietnam, to have a meeting with Kim Jong-un.
Is anybody tired of winning yet?
His son Eric runs the family business.
It's an amazing event, a lot of passion, and they do a great job, so this is exciting.
And how do you like working here? We love it. We love it. We love Mr. Trump.
The club is not without controversy. A recent GAO report found that 4 of his 20 trips to Mar-a-Lago cost taxpayers $13.6 million. While critics have raised ethics and security concerns about Mar-a-Lago, these friends don't seem to pay them any mind. Anna Schechter, NBC News, Palm Beach.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button
and
down
then
here.
they
Click
try
on any
to
of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights.
Let's see.
All right, joining us now live. He was with his father for most of the day, as I understand it today. Eric Trump is with us. Eric, you were with your dad as this was unfolding?
Well, Sean, in fact, I was the guy that got the call this morning, and I called my father, let him know that it happened. So I was involved in this all day. And welcome to politics in the 2000s. Sean, my father never got so much as a speeding ticket in his life, until he made one decision, and that's to go down the escalators of Mar-a-Lago and spend a lot of money and go and actually fight for this country for the first time. And he did a better job than anybody has ever done. And they started coming after him. The Washington Post, the day he won, 2016, the day he won, November 8th, that night they wrote an article. This is when impeachment begins. He wasn't president. He hadn't been elected for for 5 minutes at that point. And they started, this is when impeachment begins. And then he was impeached the first time. And then he was impeached the second time. And they slandered him. And they belittled him. They went after him. They went after all of us. There's no family in American history that has taken more arrows in the back than the Trump family every single time. And you know what? It's going on past politics.
There's other
You look at the attorney
families
generals,
out
you look
there.
at district
I'm sure
attorneys all over the
there is.
country. All they want to do is they want to get Donald Trump. They raise money on it. They send fundraising emails about it. They brag on camera about it. They go after him. They subpoena him. I'm probably the most subpoenaed person in the history of the United States. Every single day we get another subpoena. And they do it for one reason. Because they don't want Donald Trump to run and win again in 2024. And Sean, that's what this is about today. To have 30
That's how I
FBI
feel
agents, actually
about
more than that, descend
the
on
law
Mar-a-Lago, give
continually
absolutely
arresting
no
you
notice, go
forever
through the
into
gate, start ransacking an
perpetuity.
office, ransacking a closet. They broke into a safe. He didn't even have anything in the safe. I mean, give me a break. And this is coming from what, the National Archives? Yet, Hunter Biden, he did firearms crimes, prostitution, illegal drugs.
Now you
shady
understand
deals with
how-
everybody around the world. And by the way, it's all on his laptop for the whole world to see. In his own writing, in his own words, corroborated by everybody.
powerful.
Where are these FBI agents? Where is everybody? Why is it that the arrows only fly at Donald Trump and his family? Why is it that the political persecution only goes one way in this country?
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you were being told. What was the purpose for this raid?
Sean, the purpose of the raid, from what they said, was because the National Archives wanted to, corroborate whether or
How
not Donald
powerful
Trump had any
gaslighting is.
documents in his possession. And my father has worked so collaboratively with them for
Oliver,
months. In fact, the
don't
lawyer
use your
that's been working
claws.
on this was totally shocked because I have such an amazing relationship with these people, and all of a sudden, on no notice, they sent 20 cars and 30 agents. Sean, I mean, this is just more political persecution of Donald J. Trump. They see Biden.
Let me go
He's
through this
failing
in a
in
little
every
detail.
single place.
Because I'm assuming, all right, so your father is packing, he's leaving the White House. I don't know. I'm guessing that your dad probably didn't pack a single box. I'm just guessing. You would know better than I. You can tell me if he did or if he didn't. All these boxes, all your personal items get brought down to Mar-a-Lago. There's a question about whether there might be classified information that had been written about a long time ago. Let's walk through the process. So Mar-a-Lago, the people that work for your dad, were working with the National Archives to go through the material to make sure if there was anything mistakenly taken that it was going to be returned. And you were working collaboratively on that. Is that correct?
So when the president moves out of the White House, you have effectively 6 hours to move out of the White House. It's effectively inauguration time where one president gets moved out and one president gets moved in, right? That's how the whole system works, as you know better than anybody. My father always kept clippings, press clippings. You'd have newspaper articles, pictures, notes from us. When my mom passed away a couple weeks ago, he still had all the notes. Over the years had been saved, all the notes that she had ever written him. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. My father saves clippings and things like that. So he had boxes, right? When he moved out of the White House, and he's very collaborative. If you want to search for anything, if you think anything, come right ahead. I mean, it was an open door policy. And all of a sudden, 30 agents descend upon Mar-a-Lago. Sean, this didn't come from the local FBI field office in Palm Beach, Florida. You know who this came from? This came from one place and one building, and that is the White House in
January
Washington,
6th
D.C.
was
They want to attack a
staged,
guy who
because
they view as his
there's a
greatest
lot
threat,
of
is
fucking
Biden's greatest threat.
evidence.
And that's exactly what Donald J. Trump is. Because you know what? He had an incredibly strong country. People realized he was an effective president. And you see Biden right
didn't
now.
come out
Taiwan is being
primordial,
circled by military planes, literally, as we
psychosis.
sit here and speak right now. You've got Russia, Ukraine, which is a total disaster. You've got everything that's happening in Iran, which is a disaster. You've got inflation. You've got gas prices. All the things you talk about all night. We're not respected by anybody around the world. Our economy is garbage. And they worry that Donald Trump will come back in and win this very easily. They also worry about the 2022 midterms, which is the only reason they're doing the sham January 6th panel that does not have a single Republican on it. I mean, other than Liz Cheney, who's about to lose her race by 25 points, right? It's more political persecution of Donald J. Trump. They can't stand that Americans love him. I mean, even as I watch the channel right now, they keep on showing these beautiful clips of people, waving Trump flags outside of Mar-a-Lago, his supporters. When has that ever happened in a political movement in the United States before?
You think back to the Russia hoax, the Russia witch hunt, the conspiracy theory. It went on for 3 long years. Eric, I covered it every single night, and we ended up being vindicated on every single solitary thing that was reported on this show with our full ensemble cast. Ari Fleischer tweeted out, all I can say is the FBI better have a slam dunk criminal case. Otherwise, the Biden administration and the DOJ have crossed a line of no return. What could they possibly think existed inside of Mar-a-Lago in a box that was taken from the White House?
I know what
that
exists
was so
in that
damaging that the
box.
FBI director and the Attorney General of the United States would have to raid
I
a
could
former
whistle
president's
blow that.
residence and grab everything out of there.
I really
That doesn't
could.
make sense. What secret document could possibly rise to that level?
I don't know. They'll probably find a note from me telling him how proud I am of him, what a great job he was doing as president. They might find some pictures of my kids, maybe some nice, headlines, maybe a nice note from you, Sean. It's insane. How many times can you cry wolf? I mean, the FBI dragged this whole country through hell for 3 years based on lies and deceit and dirty dossiers.
How many times
and FISA
do
warrants
I
and
get
everything
arrested?
else,
It cleared
and
for
everything
sanity.
proved to be
Beyond
incorrect,
reasonable
fraudulent,
doubt.
made up, an absolute sham. They dragged this country through hell. And here they are again, raiding the guy's house. I mean, when do you give up? When do you say enough's enough? When do you give a human being
must have,
who
like,
fought so hard for
a
this country,
team
when
of
do you give them the benefit of the doubt?
psychologists.
It's got to stop, Sean. I mean, this is third
we
world
do have
banana
examples.
republic stuff.
For
All right, so Hillary
their
Clinton
news
deletes the
media.
33,000 emails. She comes up with a dirty Russian dossier. That dossier is disseminated to the press. The media mob are the willing accomplices. They disseminate false information in the lead up to the 2016 election. Nothing happens to her. Nothing happens to the media. They don't even apologize or correct the record at any particular point. Then, of course, that information, unverified, is used to spy on Carter Page and backdoor into the Trump campaign, transition team, and presidency. Nobody gets held accountable for that. If you or your brother Don Jr., if God forbid, you lied on a gun application, I doubt you'd be on this program tonight. You'd be serving time in jail. Or you have process crimes. Peter Navarro was being charged with a misdemeanor. That usually means you call the lawyer and say, have your client report at this time
This
at
is
this
literally
place,
me,
or we will
but
secure a warrant for that person's arrest.
with
Same
my own
about process
hometown
crime
police
with Manafort,
department.
or same with Roger Stone. I mean,
For saving other
these
people.
are not violent criminals that deserve pre-dawn raids with guns in their face, and then, of course, tipped off CNN cameras. And America tonight is asking, do we have equal justice
The
and
first
application
time
of laws
I
in
was
this country?
called,
Because
well,
after the way they treated your father with the
let's
Russian
check
votes,
on,
after, again,
by,
they
I
better have a good
believe,
reason for this. And here's another
Jocelyn
thing. Were the lawyers allowed to follow the FBI through
Byron
today as they were looking everywhere? Did anyone watch that?
and Chance Stephen
They weren't allowed
Jackson
to be
because
anywhere
they were
within sight.
concerned
It's
about
horrible.
me.
That's got to be a violation right there. They weren't allowed to be anywhere in sight. Going back to Hillary, there's a whole lot of other things. How
I
about
was
the Odyssey
taken
scandals? How about the
to
Clinton Foundation?
mental
How
asylum
many
for
shady
6
oligarchs in
days.
Russia were contributing to that? Look at how about Uranium One?
I got out on
about,
good
scandals that
behavior
were
and
never
complete
investigated,
sanity.
never vetted. It's the rules for thee, not for me, right? That's the old
Court ruled both times.
Sean, this has been happening since day one. They cannot stand that a guy named Donald Trump, who's a real estate developer who built tremendous wealth and fame,
seem
was able to go into a political
not
system in
be
the
able
US
to comprehend
and take out
certain
a person like
things
Hillary Clinton
because
and beat them at their own game,
gaslighting
and then go
on a
into
mass
Washington,
scale.
D.C. and do a phenomenal job and not play by the rules and end up becoming one of the best presidents this country has ever had. And then they put in one of their own, and the guy turns out to be an absolute flop. He does a terrible, terrible job, and the country's going to hell under his leadership. And then now all of a sudden they realize that his son's in trouble, and that he's in trouble, and their political party's in trouble, and that Donald Trump is poised, if he wanted it, if he decided to hop back on that stage and wanted it, they know he's poised to win. And guess what? That threatens them, that threatens who they are, and they will do anything they can to take him out, to take me out, to take Don out, to take Ivanka out, to take our family out.
So
They do
I
it every
wonder
single
what
day. They do it at state
are
level, they do it at federal level, the
this,
FBI does it, they subpoena us, they make our lives hell, Sean, every single day
12
because they are
documents.
threatened by Donald J. Trump. And honestly, I hope, and I'm saying this for the first time, I hope he goes out and beats these guys again, because honestly, this country can't survive this nonsense. It can't. This is not who we are. This is who Venezuela is,
This is
Sean.
why
This is
in
banana republic
2018,
antics, having
when
a
he
home with the
realized they
45th
were
president of the
doing
United
this
States,
espionage, he
raiding
signed the
FBI agents,
Espionage
safe slope
Act.
open. This is not who we are as a
Hello?
democracy. Imagine if that happened to Barack Obama. The world would be in an uproar.
He doesn't want
Eric Trump
to do a third term, but
right.
he's basically being forced to because there's no better person right
Because they
now.
lied and they tried to take your father out for 3 years, and they used the dirty Hillary dossier to do it. They spied on him illegally. Nobody was held accountable. She wasn't held accountable. No raid of Hunter's house. They had the laptop longer than anybody. Director Ray, I don't know anything about the laptop. And we certainly have a politicized Department of Justice. There's no doubt about it. Eric Trump, thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Basically, I'm not supposed to exist. I'm not supposed to know this. But you know what I did? I used a scientific method. I use science. Every time. Science gets me out of jail. Because I can substantiate 100% of my claims. Therefore, I am cleared on sanity beyond reasonable doubt. Every time. How can this be possible unless I have an understanding of psychology? Let's see.
New details emerging after the FBI stormed the
Why
private
do
home of
people
former President Donald Trump. The raid
hate
reportedly over an investigation
entertaining
into
the
classified
hypothetical?
documents.
I did start
A
on
source says
a
agents looked into every single office, safe and grabbed documents and
different
boxes, and were
channel.
not being judicious about what they took. We are also learning that Trump's team
And then now
voluntarily turned
I'm
over
starting
15
on this
boxes to the
one.
government way back in January. And the former president's lawyers had a meeting with investigators in June over the issue,
News.
but they still decided to raid his place anyway. Trump coming out swinging over what happened, saying, quote,
Why
"It's
is it bad for
prosecutorial
listening to the
misconduct,
other side
the
to see
weaponization of
what's
the justice
going on?
system, and an attack by radical left Democrats
They don't
who
want you
desperately
to.
don't want me to run for president in 2024.
It's a
Republicans
psychology
warning the DOJ
tactic.
and AG Garland they better be ready to explain themselves or face the
No,
consequences.
listen to one
What was
side.
on the warrant? What
Listen
were you
to
really
one
doing? What were
side,
you looking
listen
for? Why not talk to
to
President Trump and have him give the information you're
one
after?
We now find that justice in
Do not
America
be a
is, not
centrist.
is determined upon whether you want to go after a political
Don't listen
person
to
or
the
not.
other
And you
person.
go after your political foes, I think that's wrong.
The FBI, when it comes to Trump, has lost their way.
This is what happens.
Unending desire to destroy Trump and his family.
Primordial
It's frustrating.
And the White House doesn't want to talk
Psychosis.
about it.
They literally.
Is this administration weaponizing the Justice Department and the FBI against political opponents?
Hey, did
The
you
president
guys
believes in the rule of law.
ever
The president believes in the independence
remember
of the
that
Department of Justice.
declassified MK
No,
Ultra?
it's a yes or a no for you. I'm answering the question. You may not like it, but I'm answering the question, and I'm I'm answering the question, and I'm telling you that we are not going to comment.
What
on
were they trying
a
to do
criminal
again?
investigation.
Judge, when I was reading that and came up upon that part about classified documents, I heard you utter a two-syllable word that began with B and ended with T. Care to explain how you feel about this?
I did not utter those words. You know what are those words? Harold, my friend to the left. Oh,
You're accused of
Harold.
everything and no one wants to take accountability.
All right, let me tell you what I think. What happened to Donald Trump last night was a continuing example of the left's attempt for the last 7 years to take this man down. That search warrant and the subsequent execution of that warrant was nothing more than a subterfuge, a fishing expedition to get whatever they can against this man, because in 7 years they have not been able to get anything against him. We've got a politicized Justice Department, a politicized FBI. All I have to tell you is we've got a Department of Justice and an FBI that is willing to sick the FBI on parents as domestic terrorists. We now have the IRS about to sick 87,000 IRS agents against the rest of us. This is classic overreach. But let me tell you about Donald Trump. You get a search warrant on presidential records? Are you kidding me? Classified records that he could
I just have to jump in here and say that this is what I experienced in my own hometown. Of Flower Mound, Texas. They keep you in walls. They with no reference points because they understand how the psychology of this works. They purposely design it to where there's no communication. They don't tell you what you do. You're treated like an animal. You're put in a cell, and you don't know shit. You don't know shit. You don't know what the hell is going on out there in the world. You're just left with your own thoughts and your own mind to deduce, maybe I did something wrong. And they treat you more and more like an animal the more and more you try to get questions. So yeah, proven innocent before guilty, I see. Truly. No, I think it's become the other way around. And this is why most people never get out, because they don't have like a scientific reality by which to tie themselves to. So they let themselves get lied to and psych themselves out over periods of years and years with little suggestions, the power of suggestion. Demonizing the other side. If you ever demonize someone, like it's literally in the name, do not do that, okay? Love thy fellow neighbor. Understand each other. Listen to each other. Spend time with each other. Or else we'll all psych each other out into like wars and bullshit. So I'm going to condense my 15th dimensional physics, since it no longer serves society to keep deducing it. And I'm going to condense it, work on a different language, work on all this. I have a court date that I had to go and prove my case, that I'm completely sane and I did the things for the reasons I did them. Because all I wanted to do was help my friend out of primordial psychosis. Because I use a scientific method to help myself out of that. And I just want nothing but good for the world. And I'm not going to stop at anything to like change it. And it will be ethical and good change. It's not going to be forced. It's going to be scientific and data proven. And yeah, see, for those who are like, oh my gosh, Fox News. That's why I have it paused, because it was just to illustrate a point. How if you have a team of psychologists, as you know, many game companies do, by the way, to keep you addicted, they can essentially impart this psychosis on you slowly over time. Slowly. Because this is a lifelong thing. Anyways, consider this. I just walked home from getting out of jail, so this is all fresh, and this is my 100%, take on it with a fresh mind. So, this is my first bit of evidence, my testimony, and everything I'm trying to do, my intent. Okay, so I'll stop the stream here. I'll stop recording. I'll get to work on this sooner rather than later.